All right, on this episode of the LPDS, we get into some Yankees updates, very quick Yankees updates. I don't have much because the trade deadline isn't done yet, so I don't know what all the moves have been made, if any. We have a hotline call, so we get into a hotline call, and then I bring you guys down into the demon dungeon that is Libretti's brain to go through some old photos and memories. Some a good amount of sad memories, but some good ones and some good stuff that the brothers helped me out with a lot the past couple weeks that I wanted to kind of give a shout out to. That's in the Junction. All that stuff, plus a nice little Cage fact coming at you right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to the Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti, show that talks about nothing but tries to find the lessons in everything. We have a good time doing it. Hope everybody had a good week. Mine was productive. Roller coaster, though, emotionally, mentally, but productive. So can't really complain about that. We're just pushing through. We're just pushing through. I don't really have much going on to talk about, so we're just gonna roll through and see how it goes. Very quickly, just a friendly reminder: with all the chaos and crap going on, who's running the show and getting away with everything. Just a quick reminder: keep it top of mind with the Epstein stuff. So that's all I'm going to say about it. And we're just going to move on. So don't forget. Anyway, moving right along. Did a Yankees stream last week. Stunk. Yankees blew it. Started out hot against the White Sox. It was the White Sox series. And it was almost exactly what we predicted. I predicted this basically in the beginning of the stream before the game started. You can go back and watch the recording, but I don't think anyone was actually live at the time besides me. And I said, look, I'm a little nervous about this game. It's game 3 of a 4-game set. Yanks won first 2 games. This is the sleeper game that they're going to usually phone in and think they're good to go. Let's hope that's not the case. And sure as shit, that was the case. They had a nice 4-run first inning, and I was like, oh, they're, offense. We got offense here. And they absolutely shut it down the entire rest of the game. Just packed it in. Bunch of stupid management decisions by Boone later in the game. Tied the game up, went into extra innings. Yanks actually took the lead in extra innings, and then they did what the Yankees do, the loser franchise that they are right now, and made us another stupid decision, stupid play. Sox tied it up. Then they eventually walked it off in the next inning. After, by the way, the Yankees had bases loaded, less than 2 outs, and couldn't score. And then they ended up losing game 4 in extra innings to the Sox. So they split that series. Just absolutely brutal. So we'll see what happens this week on the stream. There is a very slight chance. I don't want to jinx it or anything, but we might have to put a hold on the Wednesday streams for good reasons. I'm not going to say why. It's Spearhead related, but we might have to put a hold on that for now. I don't know yet. So right now, just stay tuned on the Instagram for the next stream information and an update. We're looking at this Wednesday, but there's a chance that we hold them or go to a different day. I'll look at the schedule, look at my schedule, see what's up. So stand by on that. And that's all I got to say about that, folks. We're going to move right along. This could be a 12-minute episode. Yeah, right, Libretti. We got a hotline call. We got a hotline call. So why don't we pop that up real quick? We'll listen to that, and then we'll talk about it. Very excited. Stand by 1 second here, folks.
Sarge, Bone Crusher. Great episode on grocery store etiquette. I was cutting chicken in preparation for dinner, so I might have missed you saying it, but my big one that I didn't hear is when people park their cars right in front of the entrance to the grocery store. Like, they're so important that they don't have to park 15 feet into the next parking spot. So then it holds up the traffic. It's just an absolute POS thing to do. Talk about it. Let me know what you think. He said speakerphone. Yeah, sorry. The wife's here too, just listening into my brotherhood conversation with you. Stay strong. Love you. Good brother, Fig that.
Awesome call. Thanks to the Bone Crusher for that, and Mrs. Bone Crusher in the background. I'm not going to say she was interrupting because I respect her and I fear her. Anybody who's in with the Bone Crusher, you got to have a level of respect and fear there. So, and that goes with anybody, any spouse of the brotherhood. Respect, a little bit of fear. As you know, that's what they have earned, and that's a good thing in my book. So I appreciate the call. Yeah, I didn't talk about parking. I kind of forgot, but also like I've seen that not just at grocery stores, but everywhere. Where it's this mindset of I'm the only person on earth, and I'm the main character of this story here. And if you think about it, I'm gonna try to create some red yarn connections here. So follow me, fellas and ladies. In movies, TV shows, you ever notice? I'm sure you've noticed. Anytime somebody has to go into a building in the city, a storefront, a hospital, anything in a movie or TV show, it's always front and center. It's always front and center. You never see somebody who has to go somewhere and they park where there's an available spot in the back somewhere and then hoof it in or whatever. Always front row. There's always a spot. There's always a valet waiting, and there's no line ever. Even like look at movies like in Vegas, Hangover and stuff like that. They're just pulling right up. There's never a line. And if you ever been to Vegas, sometimes the lines of casino hotels and stuff are out into the street, waiting for valets to do their thing. And these people, because of the IQ theory we talked about, truly believe that they're the main character in the movie of existence. And that's what they'll do. They'll pull right up. Oh, I'm just getting one thing, so I'll put my blinkers on and I'll go in and take care of my thing. People will understand because I'm the main character. People will understand. And then they go in and do that. Have you ever seen this? Because I've seen this plenty of times where somebody will do that and then it prevents an emergency vehicle or like an Uber or a handicapped vehicle from actually dropping off people who can't make the walk and need to be dropped off in front for various ailments, if you will. I've seen that plenty of times. And then if they get called out, instead of taking accountability and apologizing, they get defensive. I was just going in for one thing. How do I know? I don't know you. I don't know what's in your head. Oh, I'm just supposed to assume, oh, this person's probably just going in for one thing. They got their blinkers on. So they're probably just going in for one thing. It's not a big deal. They're more important. They got to get deodorant. They got to get their razor blade. I just sit here with this handicapped person in their wheelchair waiting to be able to actually drop them off to go get their medication or whatever. Or yeah, no, the fire alarm went off, but this person's just getting their nasal strips. They're getting their head bonnets, their shower caps. It's not a big deal, whatever. Let them go get their stuff and we'll wait and then we'll put out the fire. Fires take a long time to really get dangerous and burn a building to the ground. So it's, let them go in, let the cashier stay to ring them up, give them their change, EBT them, whatever it is. And then hopefully that, if the cashier gets out in time, they get out in time. If not, look, the person had to get their foot cream. So I get it. It's just one item. No big deal. That's what happens. And it's infuriating. But again, I go back to the IQ theory to try to temper my emotions and rage. And I just assume everybody is mentally handicapped when it comes to intelligence. And I have to be, I'm just compassionate about it, empathetic. It's like, oh, this person is clearly stupid. Like, oh, it's like you're dealing like with somebody with a broken leg or a broken arm or in a wheelchair. It's like, oh, this person's handicapped. So, I'm not going to get mad that they're slowly wheeling through the parking lot and I can't get to a parking spot or whatever. It's like we're dealing with stupid people. It's an illness at this point. And I try it helps me a little bit temper my rage. It's tough though because you realize like no, they're not actually handicapped. They're just fucking inconsiderate. And it does get infuriating. But if I got angry and lashed out at every single inconsiderate person I dealt with when I go out into society, I would have had a stroke by now. I'd be dead or in jail. There's just too many of them. They're outnumbering us. Just total lack of consideration and respect and manners for others. It's very sad and disappointing. But the only thing I can do, the only controllable I have with this video, by the way, can't stop I don't know what the deal with the video is. The only controllable I have is to not do that to other people. That's it. Because I can't complain about it and then also be the culprit of it. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. And for this instance, it's better for me to take the high road. Unless they declare an act of war against the LPDS, I can take the high road there. Once they declare war, then you know how it ends. So I appreciate the call, Bone Crusher. Thanks for that. Keep crushing it. Keep bone crushing it with the Good Brother Figs. I'm wearing the hat. I might have to take it off though because I'm sweating. It's hot out, and that's what I do. I sweat like a SOB. Anyway, that's all we got for the hotline calls. Keep them coming, guys. 202-670-1114. Whatever you want to talk about, throw it on the hotline. I love them. I miss them, man. So I appreciate the Bone Crusher chiming in there. Thank you for that. All right. Let's just keep on rolling, folks. Let's get into the good stuff. Let's step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by Twizzler Fingers. Twizzler Fingers. Man, there's nothing I love more than taking down some chicken fingers than diving into a pack of Twizzlers. The problem is, I'm usually too full after the chicken fingies to truly enjoy the Twiz Daddies, and I end up not eating them. You ever feel like that too? Well, now you don't have to with Tony Rigatoni's all new Twizzler fingers. Now, when you bite into your normal bowling alley chicken finger basket, your eyes will light up when you realize there's a delicious, plasticky Twizzler inside instead. Now you can eat your two favorite foods at once and never worry about being too full again. So to get yourself some Twizzler fingies today, head on over to your local Wheels in Motion roller rink concession stand, and if you use the promo code POPTWIZ, you'll get 29% off your first basket of Twiz Fing Daddies. I haven't had a Twizzler in a minute. A minute. Anyway, JPL3 loves them, but he likes the black licorice ones. Not even Twizzler brand, just black licorice. Um, which is, I like them too, but I also understand that that's psychotic behavior. I I think my dad single-handedly has kept the black licorice business, big black licorice in business for decades now. So, anyway, the Cage fact. This is sort of a 6 degrees to Nic Cage kind of fact here. We'll update something interesting here. I'm curious how this is going to play out and what it's going to mean. But Netflix is being sued for, I think, $105 million, 100 plus million, by the creator of the World War II movie Fortitude, because it was stolen from Netflix HQ. So, what does that have to do with Nic Cage? I'm glad you guys asked. Fortitude is the World War II spy movie we discussed months ago, where Nic Cage is playing like the British spy. I believe it's like the character that they made James Bond off of, but more of a realistic portrayal, like historically realistic portrayal, and not just let's create a separate character but base it on that kind of thing. Anyway, they filmed the movie, and it was and the creator of it, writer, creator, whatever, dropped off the drive, I guess a thumb drive on it of the film. It was an unencrypted drive. It was the like pre-release screening for Netflix, and the instructions were watch the movie, delete the file when you're done. And apparently there was a heist at Netflix HQ. No real information on if it was an inside job or a bunch of hitters went in, guns blazing like Reach Daddy and his posse in season 2, and just ransacked the joint and grabbed everything they could. Nobody knows. They just know that the drive is gone and it's an unencrypted drive. So as soon as you pop it in your computer or wherever, you can access the file on there. And luckily, it sounds like it was just a copy of the movie and not the only copy of the movie. We don't know for sure. They haven't given out much information on it yet. Probably because they don't want the thieves to release the footage out on the internets. I haven't looked myself. I don't feel like the FBI knocking down my door because I looked up a pirated version of Fortitude to see if they put it out there. So I'm just going to play that safe. I just don't feel like dealing with that right now. Got too much else going on. But the next big Cage movie that's supposed to be coming out, I don't know if it was going to straight to Netflix or what the deal was with it, is now MIA, missing in action. Now Netflix is disputing it and saying, hey, like, what was stolen was stolen. It's not you gave it to us. Now it's our thing. It's not your thing anymore. So you shouldn't be suing us because that's the way the cookie crumbles or some shit like that. You know how lawyers are. JPL3. Yeah, he's a peacetime lawyer. He doesn't know. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with this. I'm curious to see if they find out who did it, if they release the footage, if that was actually the only copy and that's why he's suing for so much, or what the deal is, or maybe he's just trying to make a statement like, "Hey, I put this in your hands. We had an agreement. You blew it, and this is what you get when you blow it." I don't know, but we'll find out. I want to see that movie. If it's the only copy and it's gone forever, could you imagine? Maybe that's what he's suing for. Get the money and pay off the film. The people, the contracts he signed for the film because I think 99% of the time uh they're they need the money off of the film release to finish paying off what they spent on it. Obviously they get a budget for movies and this and that, but I think for some salaries and residual checks and stuff like that, that is based on the movie's, release monies and profits and what have you. So, um, I don't know. I'm just spitballing on that, but we'll see what happens. If I get any new information, I'll keep you posted. But there you go. That's a Cage fact for you. So, moving right along. Spin on into the junction, spin the logo up, move it right along into the junction. Um, like I said, I don't have much. What have we been going? 15 minutes? Who knows? Uh, it's been a very much a roller coaster mentally, emotionally the past several weeks, as you know. I've been talking about this. Um, and I've been trying to keep my brain busy when I don't have spearhead stuff to do or anything else. I've been trying to keep my brain busy and myself just active to keep moving so I'm not sitting in demon land. And I went through some boxes. I can thank the Bone Crusher for this. I was looking through some boxes to find any spare LPDS tank tops because the Bone Crusher ripped his because he's getting too big. And he asked if I had any others. So I'm looking for him. Update as of now. I can't find them just yet. I only went through a couple boxes, but I was going through some boxes and I found some old photos. I'll post them on the Instagram, probably my personal Instagram. I'll tag the LPDS Instagram as well. Maybe I'll talk about them a little bit, or maybe I'll just post them with some cool background music. I don't know. I put them on my story, but the stories disappear. So I found some old pictures of me and Sticks, and me and my grandfather JPL too. Um, and I'm glad I saw them, but it certainly didn't help everything that's with everything that's been going on internally inside the cage over here in my brain the past couple of weeks, especially since I've been having to do a lot of rehashing of shit for the VA stuff. Uh, and these photos were me and Sticks with guns shooting, toy guns, and then one was me with my grandfather, JPL2 fishing, and then one was me. I must have been 3 or 4 years old, if that, stark naked, saluting. I'm a little mad at myself. I was saluting with my left hand, but it got me to remember a lot. Um, One, the good times me and Sticks used to have playing war and fighting with guns and stuff. Um, but the reason we loved playing war and the military and combat and all that, all the fun side of it was because of JPL 2. Um, and the picture didn't have my other grandfather, Big Al Scalingi. He was on that trip too, I remember. But it was like the first time I ever remember actually going fishing, and they were the ones who taught me how to fish. And it made me remember, how I got to where I am today, if you think about it, because JPL2 was the reason why I got interested in the military and wanted to fly in the Air Force. Talked about planes constantly. Every time a plane flew overhead, he told me which plane it was, how many engines, who made the engines. He got me books on fighter jets. He got me plane toys. In that same box, there was about 5 or 6 metal airplane models that he collected over the years, and I have them. I have some of them now. Um, and that's how I got up. I I I built my entire upbringing around flying in the Air Force because of him. Uh, and regularly speaking, I I look back on my life and all that stuff fondly. And to be completely honest with you, it's been great. Like I have my life doesn't stink by any chance, by any means. I'm not gonna hurt myself, folks. Don't worry. But when you're in a sort of a mentally compromised state for any given reason, whether you're tired or stressed or sad or whatever, the negatives come back a little bit. And that got me pretty good. Um, and I don't know if I told a lot of people this, but I'm going to tell you guys now, all 12 of you. Maybe I'll share it on Instagram one day when I open the vault. But I built my whole upbringing, volunteer work, working hard at sports, trying in school, taking different classes in school, especially in high school, so that I can look good for my application to the Air Force Academy and ROTC and what have you. Um, Making varsity for the sports, all the different activities I did, mainly in high school, and a little bit in college too. It was all for that. So I can go be in the Air Force, fly, and I can buzz the tower of the Libretti house one day. And JPL2 can get out there and see it. And that was, he got sick. So it wasn't, that goal I knew wasn't going to be realistic. Um, what I was hoping for, what at the very least, was that he can at least see me commission and graduate. Um, but he didn't get to do that either. I went to boot camp after my sophomore year of college for the officer field training, it was called. And it was going to be really the first time that I did something that my grandfather did in his time in the military, boot camp. And we marched around on ROTC beforehand and had the uniform and all that stuff, but I didn't, he went to a boot camp and got his ass chewed out and yelled at, and they're doing calisthenics and running and all this stuff. And, that was like, I can't wait to be done to talk to him about it. And I talked to him the week I left for boot camp. I didn't get to go home before boot camp. It was college, and I had about a week before I had to fly out to go to the boot camp, to the field training. And I called him up beforehand. I said, "Hey, it's 4 weeks. I'll be back in 4 weeks. We can talk about it." And I'm there that 4 weeks. I tell the stories. They're funny. I had a great time. I loved it there, despite, getting yelled at constantly and getting in trouble all the time. Um, but there's no phones. You write letters home and you hope to get letters back in time. Can't trust the post office because JPL2 had already retired from the post office decades before. And I would write home, just telling everyone how everything was going and asking how everyone was doing. And I didn't really pick it up at the time until I reread the letters. But um, my parents never gave me an update on the old man on JPL2. That's because he that's because we passed away while I was out there. And it was probably a good thing they didn't mention that because I probably would have got kicked out or left or something. And I had to find out about it in the Denver airport when I got my phone back and called home. I'm sitting there crying and on the floor in the airport like a psychopath. And all I could think about was, this guy was the reason I'm here. And because of that reason, I couldn't be there for him at the end. And I looked at those pictures, just kept thinking about that, as if there was anything I could do about it, like I could change something. But, you can't. And like I said, I did okay. I don't have any regrets. It's just I was already in my feels anyway. So looking back at that stuff, it just hurt again. That feeling you never get to say goodbye to the guy that inspired me to do what I did, you know. And that shit's tough, man. And that spiraled me. So I was pretty banged up lately because of that and some other stuff. And then then I got a text from the creature. I don't mean to call him out, but I got a text from the creature. He asked me how I was doing. I and I was on it. Most of the time people ask how you're doing. As a man, guys, this. The fellas out there know this. The automatic answer is I'm doing fine, doing good. No problem, no issues. Um, and that's mainly because, like I discussed in the past, uh, as men, we don't want to be a burden to anybody else. We all, I understand that everybody else has problems. A lot of times they're bigger problems than what we're dealing with. So it's like I don't want to dump my shit on anybody else. I'll hand I'll handle it. Um, and two, there's oftentimes you open up. to people and they shut the door on you. They slam it back in your face. And that definitely shies you away from wanting to open up and open the vault again, you know. But with the brotherhood, with the brothers, uh, they're the family, the LPDS universe, the brothers, you're in the vault. We're all in the vault. So I don't, I don't have to open anything up. We're all in here, and I was, not doing great. And the creature said, "How you doing?" I was like, you doing okay? Everything okay?" I was like, "Not particularly." He's like, "You want to talk about it?" I was like, "No, not really." Um, I don't like to talk about my problems for a number of reasons, but mainly because when I just talk about problems, I think about the problems and it doesn't help me find solutions. I don't like to be problem centric, problem focused. I want to be solution focused. And I found that sometimes talking in general, it's why I put out that 8 minute combo video on my Instagram. I always repost it on my story every once in a while as a reminder. I've talked about that in the past a lot here. Um, it certainly helps me just talking, just shooting the shit with somebody, getting my brain off of the thing that's causing me pain or sadness. And so that's what I told him. I said, "Hey, no, I don't feel like talking about that thing, but I'm looking forward to sticks later this week so we can just shoot the shit." And then I just sank back down into the dungeon, the demon dungeon. And about 30 minutes later, a creature texts back and he's like, "Listen, I can phone in at work tomorrow. What sticks tonight?" And we got on and sticksed it up. Shot the shit. Talked about the Yankees, talked about regular stuff, killed zombies, had a good time. For about an hour and a half, 2 hours, um, things were good. And that gets me worked up for good reasons, but people don't do that anymore. We throw out the how you doings, and then we throw out the, well, if oh, you don't want to talk, okay, if you need me, I'm here. Let me know what I can do. And that's kind of what happens. That's where it ends, right? Uh, but this is why we're brothers. This is why we have the brotherhood because it didn't stop there. Creech took action. He knew I was going through it. We've talked about it a little bit even prior to that. And he sacrificed his day the next day at work and his sleep and all the shit that he's dealing with as well to shoot the shit with his brother. And man, did I need it. Man, did I need it. It sounds so stupid and silly. Again, not that I was going to do anything drastic, obviously, but the longer you sit in the negative, the harder it is to get out and move forward. And nobody does that shit. Nobody actually takes action and says, I'm here for you, and then it's there for you. But you guys always are. And I know I sound sad and pathetic, but that's a good thing. This is a happy thing. You know, you want to talk about good things in life and gratitude. Imagine you're a person who doesn't have that in your life. Imagine you don't have the creatures in your life reaching out, the bone crushers, the wet cats, the brotherhood. You just gotta sit and stew and spiral. I talk about the big three all the time for a reason. It's not just an ending to a weekly episode. You become a better person, you're able to help people better too. So I guess this is just a shout out, a thank you to the creature and everybody, all you guys out there, really, for being good people, because I'm grateful for it. Uh, I'm gonna be okay. You don't have to worry about me. We're just in a cycle, and you know, to be honest, before I just faked it. Previous years throughout the LPDS existence, I would just fake it, pretend everything was going great for the episode because I didn't think people would like those episodes. And not that I don't care anymore what people like or don't like, but um, I know you guys care just about me in general. So I feel okay talking about it. It kind of gets it off my chest. And hopefully it shows everybody else out there that maybe listens, tunes in every once in a while that this is normal shit. This is life. Life has ups and downs. It's not linear. It's like cyclical almost. It's like a wavy, random, you know, sine wave of ups and downs and good times and bad times and strife and ease and happy and sad and all the shit. And we all go through it. And that's okay, especially for the fellas out there. Again, you know, if you live online, the vast majority of the content regarding men out there is to suck it up and stop being a little bitch. And your problems are your problems and nobody else's, and just to tough it out. Like I said, I feel that a lot. And most of my problems I can handle easily. They're not big deals. They're not really considered problems that much for me. But that mentality, if you go too far in that mentality, bad things happen. You know, there is a reason why men have a vastly higher suicide rate. And it's not just because we're better at it than women. It's because men internalize everything because they don't feel like they can go to anybody or they don't want to burden anybody that they actually could go to. And they bottle it up and that's all she wrote. So if you find those friends out there that you can actually open up to, do it. Do it. And know that you're going to be there for them too. And be there for them and take action for them as well. Because it's not one-sided, obviously. But that's it. This is a sad Eeyore Junction this week. We got to get some hotline calls and topics out there uh, to spice things up a little bit in the future. But that's what we got going on this week, folks. So thanks again to the creature and for everybody out there for always being there for me. And I just hope that uh, I can be there even an eighth of as much as you guys have been there for me. And that's all I got to say about that. Real quick, this might have actually been a quick episode. I don't have a timer, but who knows? Before we go, the big three, the three pillars to staying strong and being a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, be able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you throughout the land. And honestly, to be able to better handle these phases in life. Number one, exercise every day. Do something every day to improve your health and fitness and wellness, physically, mentally, or emotionally. Number two, the hardest one to do, don't be a negative, shitty person. Be a kind person. When the opportunity arises to be negative and to stay in the shit world, take a deep breath, take the LPDS step back and remove yourself from the situation. Because the deeper you're into the shit, the harder it is to get out. And if you're already dealing with a sad, negative phase in your life and then you're trying to get involved in someone else's shit, it's not going to go well. But it's harder, it's easier said than done. It's very hard to do, so I get it. Number three, the most important one, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. And do this when times are good. So that when times are bad, it's a little easier for you to take a step back and think about the good things you have in your life and focus on the good stuff as opposed to dwelling into the bad. And I'm telling you, I might be going through it these days, but I would be an absolute nightmarish mess if I didn't try and focus on the big three every day and doing it when things were good. And here's another thing. Things have been good for me. 90% of my life is good. Because of the big three. Because you stick to the process and you follow the big three, at the minimum, things will end up good more often than not. Because you'll be able to handle the uncontrollable bad that comes in a lot easier and get through it a lot quicker. You don't just focus on the big three when shit's gone sour already because your brain's not trained for it. Your mind's not trained for it. You got to train all the time. It's just like hitting a baseball, riding a bike. You can't just go out there and hit off of Randy Johnson. You got to train in the cage a lot of times so that when it comes time to Randy Johnson to come up, you're ready. So do this in the good times. Think about something, one good thing each day that's good in your life and what your life would be like without that. And that will put it into perspective for you. That'll give you that gratitude you're looking for. Like having the brotherhood around. What would my life be like? What would my last month be like without the brothers? Not good. I can tell you that much. So you do that, it's a lot easier to get yourself out of the negative and remove yourself from the situations. And when you do that, you have more capacity to focus on more positive, productive things in your lives, like exercising every day. And if you do these three things each and every day, a little bit and a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, I promise you guys, take it from me, who's going through it right now and is still feeling fine compared to what other people go through. I promise you, you'll be a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, be able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you and throughout the land. Thank you guys again for tuning in through the highs and lows, no matter what. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends and enemies to hit the hotline. Let's have a good, fun episode next week. Maybe I'll get into a war with the HOA again or something. I don't know. Get some spice back into the LPDS. Hit the hotline. Let me know what we can talk about, some topics, some questions, some jokes, some shit talks, whatever you want to do. 202-670-1114. Love the hotline call from the Bone Crusher today. Phone them in. Tell a random family member, hey, think of a question or a topic and call this number and tell them the topic or whatever it may be and tell them the call. And we'll play it. 202-670-1114. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.